So do you remember back in my Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah review when I said that the storyline kind of fucked things up for the rest of the series? This is the first movie where that starts to take effect. But before I go over why Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah screwed things up, let's go over the mandatory plot summary, as with every review. This movie opens up with G-Force building Mechagodzilla's replacement mech after Godzilla destroyed it in the last movie. The replacement mech is called Mogira, which, like Mechagodzilla, was once an alien weapon in the Showa series and now is a weapon of G-Force in the Heisei series, because Mogira originated in the 1957 science fiction film The Mysterians, directed by Ishiro Honda. Meanwhile, a couple of G-Force members head to Birth Island, which is a little more lush and green now, to work on Project T. They bring Mickey along, who has a little more respect for Godzilla now, and the basic plan of Project T is to mind control Godzilla so he can be used by the Japanese should the worst happen. The motivation for this case is because the Cosmos from Godzilla vs. Mothra warn her that a space monster is headed towards Earth, and since Mothra isn't around, Earth has to rely on Godzilla to destroy the monster. Now, the reason I say that this movie is screwed up by King Ghidorah's story is because, mainly because of SpaceGodzilla's origin. In the movie, after SpaceGodzilla and Godzilla fight each other for the first time, they find out that SpaceGodzilla has the exact same cells as Godzilla, and they present two theories on how those cells could have gotten into space. The first one is that after Godzilla vs. Mothra, Mothra flew up into space to destroy the meteor that was headed towards Earth, but some of Godzilla's skin fragments got attached to her and floated into a black hole. The other explanation they give is that after Godzilla killed Biollante in Godzilla vs. Biollante, she floated up into space and her cells, which were part of Godzilla's cells also, fell into a black hole. You see the problem with the second reason. In Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, they basically erased Godzilla from history so that the events of Godzilla, the return of Godzilla, and Godzilla vs. Biollante never exist. Now, because they present two reasons, you would think, oh, well, I can just blow one reason off and go with the other reason. But there's actually another problem here. There's one character in this movie who's obsessed with killing Godzilla, mainly because one of his friends was killed during an attack on Godzilla. His friend was one of the military guys in Godzilla vs. Biollante, which could not possibly exist because of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah's... I'm thinking about this too much, and really, this is a problem, but don't think about this too much when you see the movie because your brain will hurt if you think about it too much, like mine is right now. Aside from that weird continuity mindfuck, the rest of this movie, according to Godzilla fans, is pretty much the Indiana Jones 4 and the Iron Man 2 of the series. Or at least the Heisei Godzilla series, where everyone hates this movie. Everyone says, oh man, this movie sucks so much. Yet for some reason, I don't see why. Okay, I can see the reasons why people probably don't like this movie. One thing, the music is not as good or memorable as the last three Godzilla movies, but I don't care what composer is selected for a Godzilla movie, they're never going to top what Akira Ifukube has done for the Godzilla series in terms of music. Another problem that I can agree with people on is the downgraded special effects. There's a scene in which Mogira and SpaceGodzilla briefly fight each other in space, in the middle of an asteroid field, and the asteroids don't move at all and they look like styrofoam. Now, I'm glad that the series didn't decide to use computers that much or at all, but with Empire Strikes Back coming out in 1980 and this coming out in 1994, what the hell? Why are the asteroids so stiff? That sequence should have been exciting, like the asteroid field scene in Empire Strikes Back, but but I guess not. One thing I can agree with fans on is that Baby Godzilla is in this movie, this time called Little Godzilla, is a little bigger, but somehow he is starting to look more like Minya, which... No, bad. No, why'd you do that? I don't know. Well, Little Godzilla isn't in the movie that much, because during Godzilla and SpaceGodzilla's first battle, Minya gets captured by SpaceGodzilla and is basically imprisoned, which is the motivation for Godzilla to hunt down SpaceGodzilla after he leaves and kill him so he can release his son. Which brings me to some of the positives of this movie, because I feel that this movie is more good than it is bad. One thing, it is entertaining. SpaceGodzilla is one of the coolest original monsters after the Showa series. And he's also really the first monster that's really evil. For kidnapping Godzilla's son and imprisoning him, that's really evil for a monster to do. I still think the music is pretty good, though not as memorable, again, as the last few movies. And I really don't think it's really I don't think it's god-awful. I mean, it's not particularly great like the last few Godzilla movies, but it's good, which, well, I guess that segues into my rating. Good, but not great. Probably, maybe the weakest of the Heisei Godzilla series, but that's really not saying much. It's still a pretty good movie and pretty entertaining. So that's my review for Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla. I have one more review for the Heisei Godzilla series, and then I only have 6 more Godzilla movies to review, so I will see you tomorrow. Bye!